Okay. First and foremost, I am not a nutritionist or anybody that specializes in diet or exercise. I am just some guy. I am going to explain what works for me and just give some sort of insight into what my experiences have been for the last year or so in losing weight and in just kind of trying to reshape my relationship with food, my relationship with all of this stuff recently. And I think I finally figured out what works for me. So I'm going to be smoking some weed and just kind of jumping around, giving you all basic things that I think really go a long way, or at least, like I said, they've worked for me very, very well. So let's get into it. First things first. This is gonna be the worst one, and this whole video is gonna be a lot of you are not allowed. You kind of have to. First thing is you have to get into the mindset of not only having self-discipline, but you have to tell yourself, I'm not allowed to have this, or I'm not allowed to do this as much as I was. Now, for me, the hardest thing is you have to quit alcohol and sugar. You don't have to quit sugar completely, honestly, because I've quit alcohol, or at least I've pushed it so far out of my life that I barely drink anymore at all. Like maybe every month, every few weeks. Sugar, you know, and it's so hard to quit sugar in America, obviously, but you know, sugar is not going to kill you in little doses here and there, but alcohol, quitting drinking, or I just said abstaining from drinking as much as I have been, has helped me drop weight tremendously. Now, for me, it was because drinking would lead to more eating. I would always eat to sober up, or eat because I was hungry. Like anytime I drink, I feel that not only all of the liquid and all that stuff that I want to soak up after a night out, but you've just my instinct, all of my worst impulses kind of happen when I'm drunk or drinking. So it's like I'm drinking, I'm like, yes, all of the things that I want to talk about, yes, all of this, so I just don't even think about it, and I overindulge so easily when I drink. So quitting alcohol is a significant help with losing weight, especially beer. I love beer so much. I don't know, my dad's adopted, so I'm not 100% sure if I am German or not, but if I am, I know I'm English, and I know that the Europeans love their beer. I do too. Beer is like, drinking a Stella, if you've seen any of my videos with my music or just any of these, Stella is my favorite fucking thing in the world. So quitting drinking, or at least abstaining from it as much as I have, has not been easy. Because it's fun. Drinking is fun. It feels good. It is a toxin that is socially acceptable because people have been drinking it for thousands of years and since we've existed, and it's amazing. I love drinking so much. Drinking too much is not great for you, though, and drinking in general, like the CDC just said a little while back, that like any amount of alcohol is not good. Any amount of alcohol is terrible for you. So quitting sugar is the hard one. What I try to do is have some fruit, have something that like my body is always wanting sugar. And you need sugar. You need sugar from at least a little bit. You need some fruits. You need like the nutrients and the vitamins that come with the fruit, though. It's not necessarily just the sugar. Quitting refined sugars is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Refined sugar. A lot of this I've learned from, shout out to Kiana Doherty. I'll tag her. I'll share her link in this. Just watching videos from YouTubers like her, and watching videos I've watched so many, because there's this huge health boom obviously now as well online, and people's obsession with not even weight but diet, and and the realization of like, yeah, this shit that we've been pumping into our blood and eating our whole lives is literally manufactured for us to get addicted to it. Ultra processed food is really bad just because it's gone through too many things. All food is not meant to go through a giant factory and a machine. That's the only reason people bring up why processed foods are so bad, is because you're taking something and putting it through like 10 different steps and this whole sequence of there's this long process. By the time it gets to your plate, that's not natural. That's all that is. That's not how food is meant to be, right? So yeah, quitting sugar, of course that's hard, but finding alternatives to it. I love fruit, and I also have these Aloha protein bars. This is great brand of protein bars, and the ones I buy are like the peanut butter cup flavored ones. And it's just peanut butter and chocolate, and that little bit of, it's made with like all natural ingredients and stuff like that. Made with like, cane sugar, not high fructose corn syrup. Where is it? These, I'm obsessed with chocolate, like obsessed with chocolate. I could always eat chocolate cake, chocolate ice cream. These are a fantastic product because of how it kind of scratches that itch, but it's not horrible for you. This is all, I believe, all like very natural ingredients. It's about 230 calories. Now that's a good bit, but you're also getting plenty of fiber, and obviously the calories coming in from the protein and all that. This is a perfect, not a good meal substitute, but when I feel like I'm wondering if I've eaten enough throughout the day and I'm craving something like chocolatey, this is my favorite thing ever. That, and I eat a lot of bananas. I personally eat a lot of bananas and apples because they're easy to carry around. Bananas, like literally, what a perfect thing that nature created. Bananas are in their own container. It's in its own packaging already. You literally can just grab it and go. And bananas have a lot of, a lot of fruits are like high in sugar, but they have, the sugar goes hand in hand with all of the stuff that your body wants and needs. Like when I'm eating bananas, or when I'm eating plenty of them, plenty of fruits especially, I never wonder if I've gotten enough of what my body needs, because they're just so packed with a lot of great nutrients for your body, as long as you don't eat too many of it. That's the problem, is people that have addictions to sugar or certain things like that, have a sweet tooth. You can't eat too much fruit is just as bad as, well, not just as bad, it's not nearly as bad as too much candy, but you know what I mean. It's not going to be good if you're eating nothing but fruity. That's not good for it wouldn't be good for your blood sugar in that way either. Also, I got this True Leaf lighter for free. I don't care for this company. I like their bud and their weed and like the products that they have, but these people are terrible. They're like the Chick-fil-A of weed stores. So I got this lighter I don't think I got it for free, but I paid it to get a bunch of stamps to get $50 off an order or something like that. I don't want people to think that I support True Leaf. Fuck these guys. Anyway. Yeah, so the important thing is finding things that you like that are healthy substitutes for the things that you want, and the things that you're the junk food that we like. All that stuff is, as far as like quitting sugar, is finding a good substitute that you're okay with. Like you don't have to quit it overnight, but finding things that help that. No different than when people give small amount of like there's the, I don't think it's I forget what it's called, what, methadone, I think, whatever the when people are recovering drug addicts, like there are people that give them a small amount of what their body is addicted to in order to help wean them off it, so the withdrawals aren't like practically killing them. Well, you can die from withdrawals actually, technically, but you know what I mean. Yeah, basically you have to find some sort of food equivalent to like how drug addicts have to wean themselves off of drugs. Now, the other few important things are just being super aware of like the calories that you're consuming. Like I think that alone, it's not what you're eating. I mean, a big part of diet is obviously what you're eating and what you're putting in just generally what you're putting into your body, but the most important thing is how much of it. There are a lot of people that make jokes just like, oh, this person's skinny as hell, but they eat like crap. They probably are only eating when you're seeing them eat. Like there are people that are really skinny, even though they eat like bullshit, because they barely eat calories. And the thing is, this bad food is dense enough, and the reason that can be attractive for people that are don't have a lot of money, or just trying to get plenty of calories with a smaller price or whatever, is the bad food is going to be, you can buy so much of it and have it in excess, and that will give you enough calories, that will give you enough to get by. You're not going to feel great. That's the thing, is I think there was a professor at one point who, like some guy in a college or a university or whatever, who did a test where he ate a bunch of he ate nothing but junk food, but stayed under a certain caloric intake, and proved that like, oh, it's more about calories as opposed to what you're eating. However, apparently he had bad heart problems for the rest of his life, and then obviously died. So what I mean by all of this is that your you know, that the calories in, calories out is the most important part of this too, or one of the most important parts of this too. I apologize if a lot of this is beating a dead horse, or people already talk about this a lot, but it's so fucking true. As far as once you learn about the science of these things, you will approach food completely differently. When you really look at the science of what it's doing, at least for me, I can't be aware of something and then be okay with engaging with it, knowing what I know, you know what I mean, or it changes something. For example, I just heard a really dark, unfortunate thing about the guy who made Ren and Stimpy, one of my favorite shows of all time, and now I'm gonna like feel differently watching the show. Dude's gross. He gross. That just fuck. Now it's like, when you find certain things out and you can't, change your perspective on it, that could be a good thing when it comes to things like diet and health, obviously. So getting into that mindset of I have to eliminate certain foods in my life and certain things like alcohol. Again, alcohol and sugar is just such a big, that's like the biggest one for a lot of people, and it's the hardest. I feel like Christopher McDonald in Requiem for a Dream right now, but it's very very true. Sugar is, at one point sugar was a I don't want to say a delicacy, but it was it's just extremely rare. It was this food that was associated with royalty because only like rich people had access to it. Only the super elite had access to it for thousands and thousands of years, or for a very long time. I don't know about thousands, but for a very long time it was an elitist kind of thing. That once it became more generally accessible, candy bars and ice cream and all sorts of stuff that happened in like once candy, I believe candy started being made in like the 19th century, maybe the 18th or 19th century. Well, what candy is to us that we know now is what I mean, like commercial, like that kind of more commercially sold stuff. I'm going off of purely what I've seen in passing, by the way. I apologize if I'm wrong about some of this stuff, but what used to be very hard to obtain is now everywhere. You go get candy bar in any gas station, any kind of place ever, and it's going to be straight from the factory. No one has fucked with it. Like it is always, permanently the same thing. Now that alone should kind of not concern you, but like, why is it able to be consistently the same exact product every time? I know this diarrhea parasite has been probably sketching a lot of people out that wanted to start eating healthier, and now we're finding out, oh, this diarrhea parasite is in fruits and vegetables, but that's what natural food can, like people obsess over organic food, but there have been a lot of deaths linked to organic food. There's a lot of reasons why things are like slightly processed a certain way, just make sure that they're safe to eat if people are making them from a, in a large quantity, right? But that's a very ambiguous thing. There's a huge range from like, oh, just taking care of the food and making sure it stays fresh, and then obviously, like spraying it with a bunch of pesticides. Apparently everything is just sprayed with pesticides. Like, I don't know, it's hard to tell what is okay and what isn't at this point, and it's very understandable why the world is constantly, there's always new stories or new studies coming out, new research coming out about what's actually bad for you, what's actually good for you. However, when it comes down to it, everything is giving you cancer. Everything is trying to kill you, which is why it's good to limit things as much as you can, or get enough of what you need. But the reason alcohol and sugar are so, I really, like, this is what worked for me so much, is just abstaining from them so much. Because like, I, can't stress enough how backwards it is for your body. There is nothing, your body wants to do this. That stuff is only going the other opposite direction. Like, there is nothing that is going to contribute to your body at all. I guess you could argue, okay, Snickers bars, at least you're getting peanuts in that, you're getting some protein in that. But no, like, most sugary things, all of it is giving you, and alcohol and sugar, anything alcoholic or sugary is pure pleasure and zero necessity. Your body doesn't need it. Your body never needs that stuff, technically, So there's that. Another thing that I want to point out as far as bringing up people living on a budget, what really helped me recently was, and I kind of went a little too nuts with it because I was skipping meals, and that's how I cut weight so fast, is because I was skipping meals. I was like not starving myself, but really reducing my cost on food recently, or I'm actively trying to. What made me overweight for a while and spend a lot of money unnecessarily was eating, not only eating out of boredom, but just being too excited and having too much fun with spending money on food like there was no tomorrow. Like, I've spent more money on food than this shit right here. I've spent a lot of money on food. So once I started living like I was a very poor person who could only, because I'm really trying to catch up on some debt, I can't afford to eat the way I was before. I just am trying to take care of some fucking debt, some bills, and that requires cutting back on my what I'm spending. So as soon as you start living like you're a very poor person, you can't afford DoorDash, you can't afford to not go to Costco, or you have to get into that mindset of like, what is going to be like minimal amount of spending, minimal amount of calories to not die. Once you start living like that, it completely changes how you look at food, because you can do that. You can literally spend as little money as it is required to get the amount of calories that you need. Now, if you're a taller person, a bigger person, obviously you're going to need more calories, but there are so many options. There's so many options to like, if you want to. Costco exists, BJ's and Sam's Club exists. Like, while people can say whatever they want to say about how that food is processed as well, regardless, you can get a giant rotisserie chicken. I live off of a giant rotisserie chicken for like at least one meal for 4 days out of the week. I go to Costco and I just grab a big old rotisserie chicken. I make rice. I got a rice cooker. I might grab that and show you all in a second here, but getting a rice cooker off of Amazon, getting a Costco membership and being able to go there completely changed the way I look at this stuff. I just prep a bunch of meals by making rice, and I get a bag of frozen like vegetables or broccoli, and I just throw that in the microwave, and then I pull that rotisserie chicken apart and I make like 4 meals out of the week. And it's so many calories that honestly I could like not eat dinner, or like I have so much in my midday, like lunch to early dinner kind of hours of the day, that I can go the rest of the day and not really eat much, or not as much as is required, because I already got like such a healthy amount of protein, necessary carbs and vegetables and all that stuff. So, and protein obviously is something you're going to hear about in a second too, because people obsess over it, but the reason why is I'll tell you in a little bit here. Once you like I said, get into that mindset of like, I can't spend money on anything that is not absolutely like needed to survive. Because that's what America is we have like all we need to survive, and our wants and desires completely goes through it, like blasts like a volcano, just goes through the roof, and our wants and desires are so constant, and we can't help ourselves because we can get it. Like it's always there to be accessed. Like in this country, you can get whatever you want whenever you want. I can go out and buy like the entire McDonald's menu right now if I wanted to, or buy as long as I have the money, I can get whatever I want. So when people start making money, especially if you're like, I think the reason that I ate so much and spent so much money on food and whatever is because the way I'm living now it was involuntary when I was 18 or 19. When I was 18 or 19, I was a fucking like bum, because I was only focused on songwriting and music. Literally would stay at home all day, and if lived with my mom my whole life, I'm not ashamed to admit it anymore. This if someone wants to give me a job being a creative director of a high-tech company or something that's going to make me a shitload of money, I'm all about it. I'm ready to work. But you're not going to hire me because of this, that, or the other, because you think that I don't have a background, when really sometimes you need that outsider person. But if someone wanted to give me a job that I would be suited for, that wouldn't be me like, slaving away, I would take it in a heartbeat. Those jobs are you have to kind of have the right connections. You have to know the right people. That shit doesn't just happen. It's all about who you know, who your dad is, your parents are, not anything else. Like if you went to college, obviously that's a big difference in that shit. But anyway, what I'm saying is, when I was 18 or 19, I was a bum and was straight up like starving all the time. Like I was eating whatever my mom made, and we were both. It was like, I felt so bad. Like looking back, I feel so bad that I did that, and that's why I started getting jobs and started doing whatever I could to make something, because I wanted weed to smoke and I wanted to make sure I was getting food. But because I lived with not being able to, literally, I had friends. I had like so many moments where people had to buy me food. That was like how much I kind of neglected like money, or told myself like I don't need money, and like I just didn't care. It's like I was like literally going like hungry and starving myself because I was just like, well, I'd rather starve. At that moment, I was like, I'd rather starve and focus on music than have a job. And it was just because I was fresh out of high school where I felt like everything was overwhelming and so demanding of me, and school is, like a lot of pressure. I basically was just, for the first couple of years out, so after I finished high school, I was like, fuck all that. When I was supposed to go to college, I got kicked out of college. So I was like, fuck all this. And anyway, because it was involuntary at the time, I think once I started making money and started making more money being a musician, and really was like, had credit cards, just said fuck it at some point. I mean, anytime I was hanging out with my friends, I was always buying like a chicken tender sub from Publix, maybe multiple bags of chips like Doritos and those Cape Cod kettle cooked potato chips, kimchi, a vegetable tray. Like, I would just buy a bunch of shit and a 12-pack of Stella, and I would go ham on all of it. I was exercising a lot at the time too, almost just to justify being able to drink and eat more. And that's like what I was doing, is because I was overindulging and I was having so much fun with it, and was, like I said, because I knew what it was like to be hungry. That was maybe a moment of like, I never want to be hungry again. I'm okay with making myself sick with food. The amount of times I've like thrown up from overeating and overdrinking is stupid amount of times, from like, just because I have an oral fixation. I like to smoke weed, I like to drink, and I like to eat, and I like to talk, I like to sing. My oral fixations is like something I'm really trying to get control of as well. So, yeah, what did I say? Cut out unnecessary things. Live like you don't have the money to overspend on food. Again, once you get into this mindset of, I can't afford DoorDash, I can't afford, like, fast food is not, it's such awful food and is not worth how much it costs now. This is too much. Sometimes going to Publix is too much. I go to Costco and I can get like a bunch of frozen stuff and a big ass thing of chicken, and if you really want to, get a big ass like 15-pound bag of rice or whatever the fuck it is, and store that away in some containers. You get a Costco membership. You're basically able to make an insane amount of meals for a fraction. Like, we're talking like maybe a few dollars worth for each meal in comparison to $20 or $30 per meal. I don't know if that math is right, but basically, yeah, you can live off of like homemade $4 to $5 meals like that are like an insane amount of like a good amount of calories for you. I mean, and a good amount of nutrients and everything. You could totally do that if you want to. Going to Costco is obviously sometimes a pain in the ass and can be very overwhelming, but I love that place, and it's absolutely changed like all that stuff. The thing for me is like, I can only go there for like slow perishables, non-perishables, or immediately like using it for meal prep, because I can't buy like a giant thing of 48 chocolate chip cookies this size, and that's not good. I get that for parties and shit, but I'm not. There aren't enough people that there aren't enough mouths to feed here to justify getting that stuff, right? So yeah. Cut out the unnecessary shit. Live like you're poor as fuck. Like, you are poor as fuck. Not to the point of eating ramen, because that shit is really bad for you too. But you can live healthy and make decent meals and do it super cheaply if you're okay with making the meals, and if you're okay with putting that effort into it. Most people aren't. Most people just don't want to do that. Understandably so. You're working your ass off. The last thing you want to do is come home and feel like you're doing more work and doing more shit. I get it. The amount of times I'm like exhausted as fuck and I have to meal prep, but I like care so much about it. Like, I hate being hungry and not knowing, like, even ordering DoorDash, I hate waiting for someone to bring me food. Like, when I bring food to work, I can heat it up right then and there and eat it whenever I want, not waiting a half an hour for someone to bring me a fucking meal that's like cold by the time it gets. Like, it is so not worth. DoorDash is so not worth your money. It is the biggest waste of money ever. It is the biggest fucking waste of money ever. I hate that these companies are convenient and that they exist, because I hate that option has allowed people to just be lazy with that shit. And in general, people with most things in modern life is like, there are so many things that like allow us, like, you can be lazy if you want, just pay this if you want to be lazy about it. But like, it is so not worth your money. It is so not worth it. So there's that. Like, it's such a ripoff. It is such a ripoff, like everything else in this fucking modern world. Like, I fucking hate how everything is a goddamn ripoff nowadays. And maybe that's what this is too, for me, like changing my diet and not wanting to living as poor as I can when it comes to food and shit. is like my way of like rebelling against this shit. I can't stand, I'm like, fuck you, I'm not gonna rely on you. So, and every once in a while, yeah, I get DoorDash if I really like, okay, I got fucking nothing at home, nothing prepped, like I need to eat because I'm working this shift at work, like that's totally different thing, because like I get from Bolay and I get a buy one get one thing, it's like $30 maybe, 32 or 34 bucks. That's like a lot to me, you know. It's like going from what I'm paying for my prep meals to like $15 a meal. That's like but it's good. It's like, it's good chicken, and then they got that like those pickled onions, broccoli, rice. It's like kind of basically what I eat already, but it's in an emergency, that is completely different. In an emergency, you need calories, and it doesn't matter how much you're spending, because you just don't want to be miserable for that shift at work. You don't want to be miserable for that's the exception. The only exception for in my head though is where it's like, all right, in an emergency, and same thing with Uber, when you're too drunk and you shouldn't drive home or shouldn't whatever, you know, then yes, of course spend the money. But yeah, so we got cutting things out, live like you're poor. What else have I done recently? Well, getting a job where I'm actually on my feet more often than not really helped. When I was gigging, I would be standing for a few hours each gig, but then I would sit on break, or I would, you know, that was still plenty of exercise gigging. Actually, gigging, you're carrying equipment. Like I definitely felt like my upper body change after not like lifting, and I still lift plenty of equipment here at home, like when moving and rearranging and stuff, but not nearly as much as I used to be. Like I used to be carrying like amps and like casually doing that like multiple times a week, carrying equipment, sometimes having to walk like 30-40 feet from the gig to the place to the car, right? Carrying like 30 to 40 pound whatever, maybe more sometimes, you know, that equipment can get so heavy, helping other people move their equipment as well, you know, drummers or whatever. So anyway, when I got this job at the dispensary I work at now, I am on my feet and getting at least like 5,000 to 7,000 steps a day. At least I hope I am. I've been kind of lazy about it lately, but for a while, like I have a natural instinct to like pace around, and I can be very hyperactive. So at work, I try to just walk around a little bit, at least if I am sitting, it's to like maybe rest my legs for a bit, or if I'm just kind of feeling like tired and just worn out from the week and feel like being lazy. But for the most part, I try to just every day, just always move. The third thing I'll say is you have to move. You have to like walk around. You have to be comfortable with walking, even if it like hurts, even if it like sucks and you get tired of it. Like it is so much more important for your body to be worn out from moving than how fucked up your body is going to get from a sedentary life. Like living sedentary and not walking and not moving as much as you could it's just bad for your heart. You're not using your body. You're not using you're not making your heart pump some blood a little bit or move a little bit, you know? And it's insane how just simply walking is that's like that basic amount of exercise, which to me is not even exercise. That's like the bare minimum to not die. It's not even like exercise really, you know, but like that little bit alone is like too much for some people, which is crazy to me. I'm gonna get talking about water in a second, because water is a huge part of my life as well. But yeah, walking, you gotta move. You have to fucking move. Have to move. If not, your body's just gonna hurt that much more when it is moving. Like you, if you don't do it, then you're anytime you do it is just gonna be that much harder, which means that you're gonna do it less, which means that you're gonna be even in even worse shape. So go for walks or like pace around without thinking about it. I'm grateful that like my everything, like what keeps me up at night sometimes is just my hyperactive brain, and just literally walking around here and like doing minor adjustments to everything in my place, and like squatting. Sometimes I'm like, you see all these DVDs at the fucking bottom here? The amount of times I just squat for like 5 to 10 minutes over time, like maybe more, you know, just by like rearranging that stuff, and I don't even think about it. Like I'm getting active, and I'm grateful that I'm just like a hyperactive person that does that naturally. But if you're not, it's very important to like mindlessly do that stuff. Like if you're mindlessly walking and you don't think about it, then you're not looking at it as exercise. You're not looking. I like to walk around and have purpose with it. When I was going to the gym and running on the treadmill, walking on the treadmill or whatever, I kind of felt weird, just like it's kind of dumb, just like sitting in one place and not having like a reason to move and a reason to go from point A to point B. When you're just like, I don't know, like a treadmill is great if you really have no other option, but it just doesn't, I don't know, I don't like it. It just doesn't hit the same for me, at least personally. Walking around is nice. Unfortunately, it's too hot out to like go for walks outside. And that like it's crazy how there are so many things in the world that are like not in people's favor of going out in the world and getting exercise or eating better. Like it is so insane to me, or it just sucks how many people I imagine were trying to get healthier, and then this diarrhea parasite with fresh fruits and vegetables and I think water. I think it is like it's insane how like that definitely has freaked some people out recently and has made them like go further they've wedged themselves further into their unhealthy lifestyle, and that's just frustrating as hell. As far as for someone like me that cares about people and cares about their well-being, I care about the obesity problem that we have in America. I'm sick of like people like thinking that Americans are just a bunch of fatties, you know what I mean? We are. There's so many fat people. There are so many fat people around the world, though. Like now, apparently, like there's just obesity is just a problem. And it's also a problem in the UK. It's a problem in all sorts of places. But that's because of the, you know, ultra convenience that we have with our phones and the you know, it's too easy to be lazy. If you didn't have an option to get DoorDash and have someone bring you food outside of delivery from pizza or Chinese, or you would have to go out and go to the grocery store and get food and make food for yourself. Going as far as when we're talking about food, you've heard this many times, I'm sure, if you're watching these types of videos. But yes, Whole Foods. Duh. Whole Foods, yes, they're very important for you. And the reason they're very important is because you're getting so much of what your body needs in something that's simple. Like you literally just should eat things, like the things that I try to think of, okay, is it from the ground? Is it giving me like the protein that I want? Is it giving me like the nutrients that I need? Is all I think about nowadays. And the reason why stuff from the ground, that side of the diarrhea parasite, the reason the stuff from the ground is so good for you and why it's so good to just have it in its natural state is because of that lack of it being fucked with. Like food just like not being messed with at all, or being messed with very little. Again, like minimal processing. If you are gonna technically, like my dad brought this up at one point, technically just picking an apple off of a tree is processed food, or it's being processed in some way. But no, like, you know, the most minimal amount of that is what's important. Read the back of what you're eating occasionally. That changed everything for me. Because it'll literally make you question if you even want the thing or not at that point. I tried the fried apple pie last night from McDonald's. It was pretty good, but for how small it was, it's literally about this big. Now that probably looks big if I'm holding it up like that, but for reference, I mean, it's not that big. You know, it's not that much. The apple pie, for being 220 calories, that's actually less calories than this. This is 230 calories, but with this, you're getting 36% daily value of your fiber and 17% protein. I go off with percentages a lot, as well as the grams, obviously. But yeah, you're getting a little bit of saturated fat from this. But again, there's no trans fats in it. There's like very minimal amount of sodium. There's like a good amount of carbs. But again, this is something for when you're practically like starving and you're waiting hours for your next meal. Like you have to wait a few hours to eat, but you need something to get you through those cups. That's what this is for. What I mean is eating that versus eating an apple pie from McDonald's, 220 calories for that, and it's small and it's good. You know, it's good. I like it, but it's so small and it's not really giving you anything that your body wants, or your body wants it. Your body doesn't need it though. It's not. It's what, you know. Whereas this is the same amount of calories. It's giving you. It is giving you those things. It is giving you the good stuff. Once you start reading the back of shit and seeing, you know, you start to think like, is this even worth it? Like, do I even want this? I look at like, you know, things like Twinkies. The amount of times I pass that aisle in Publix and I'm like, oh my god, like Twinkies and ring dings and all that. I'm all about a Swiss roll. Like, give me all that. I want all that. However, like when I bought Swiss rolls a little while back, those two little cakes, it's like that. It's nothing. Like, it's not enough. It's not enough food is all. It's like I want to eat like a lot of something. That little bit of that, I think those are like 350 calories for those little cakes. It's like at least 300 calories. That's a lot. That's a lot. With Whole Foods, my favorite videos are when people show like a side-by-side comparison to 2,000 calories worth of Whole Foods and 2,000 calories worth of fast food or processed food, because the Whole Foods take up the whole table. Like, it takes up a whole portion of the table. All of the fast food, the processed food is one meal. Now, I like to eat a lot. I like to eat in excess. I like to eat. Again, I have oral fixation, so I'm always wanting to eat. I've only had black coffee today. I'll get into talking about fasting in a little bit too. But I know I'm jumping all over, but I think I'm getting all of this out in as much detail as I can, because I think about this so much, and I'm thinking about just like why I love it and why I'm like obsessed with it, kind of. But I like to eat a lot. I can eat a bunch of fruit, a good amount of fruits, and a bunch of vegetables, and some meat and rice, and that's good. That's good for me. You know what I mean? I can eat a shitload of vegetables, and there's no like downside to that. The downside might be you might have have to shit more or whatever. You might have like might pass through you a little bit more, or because of all that fiber. But it's a lovely feeling, like knowing like, okay, if it's late at night, I'm kind of hungry, but I don't want anything like too high in calories. I can eat like an apple and a little bit of peanut butter. And that's not like an insane amount, but it's filling. Like that stuff will make you feel, it will give you satiety. Like you need to be satiated, and you need to feel full. The best way to feel full is to eat the stuff that your body wants in that way. So yeah, because I like to eat a lot, I want to eat whole foods. I can eat like a bunch of chicken, and as long as I'm getting enough like vegetables and other stuff, and don't eat like too much meat, after like my meal in the middle of the day at work usually, or meals that I prep, I put a shitload of chicken in it, so that if I don't end up having meat later, if I don't end up having enough protein later, I know that I got enough, or like plenty in that one serving. I didn't really do like an OMAD thing for a while, but I for a while, as in my whole adult life, I eat maybe 1 or 2 meals, like actual meals at most every day. And there's larger, but again, because I like to eat a lot, I like to get just all my calories for the day in one moment, because I like to eat. So I like to eat a lot. So yeah, Whole Foods, not the store, but the eating Whole Foods it's so good to do that. It is so good to be in that mentality of like wanting simplicity. I am a simple man, and I love like the simplicity of a banana and some peanut butter. I gotta get them soon, actually, because I don't have any right now, but I love getting like the rice cakes and putting some peanut butter on that, because they're not that many calories, the rice cakes. I obsess over, not to the point of having an eating disorder, but I have to be aware of counting calories, because that's what works for me to stay lean and just to not gain weight. So I have to be aware of calories, and I'm trying to eat the food that I want. Let me start talking about fasting now, or actually, I brought up water before. Let me talk about that. I've always been, I used to drink when I was like 24, 25 years old. I was drinking like a gallon of water a day, and was like obsessed with, like I was like running a lot and doing a lot of activity. So I was obsessed with, I just did it kind of as a challenge to myself. Like, can I drink this much water every day? And I was able to, but I was sick of peeing a lot, and I genuinely don't think like consumption of water. I don't know if overconsumption of water is a good thing, unless I'm not getting as much activity now as I was before. Like before, I was running in the hot freaking sun, and this was 10 years ago, so the sun wasn't as brutal as it is now, but the temperatures aren't as brutal, at least. Like now I can't go running outside during the summer, because I'm like thinking of a heat stroke. I've had moments where I was running and thought I was gonna like pass out and die of a heat stroke. So I am so I'm so fucking concerned about that now as a Floridian, and the heat right now is a big part of why I don't do that anymore. But when I was getting a lot of activity, it was I just read a lot of things about why drinking a shitload of water is so good for you. Water is another thing that you can have so much of it, and it's not bad, as long as you're not over consuming and getting whatever, straight waterlogging your body, or what is it called, just overhydrated. You're good. You can drink a shitload of water, and it's only going to be good for you. And what's crazy is a lot of the times when you're hungry, like what I've heard at least, sometimes it's just your body actually just wants water, and you might just be feeling like a little like dehydrated in that way. So that's what works for me. A lot of times for the first few hours of the day, I literally just have black coffee as soon as I wake up, and I drink a decent amount of water. Drink at least like maybe one of these, or at least a half of these, and then wait until I actually feel like really, really hungry. I don't like to eat the first few hours after waking up, just in general. I've never been that kind of person. Unless I barely ate the night before and I wake up like starving, but I'm such a night, like later in the day kind of person. Like my eating window with like I kind of still fast, not really, but like Like, I'm not as restricted with myself with it, is what I mean. But my eating window is really like 4 p.m. to midnight. I love eating from like 4 p.m. to midnight. And that's because I stay up. So I will stop eating at midnight, but will continue to hang out until 4 a.m. Go to sleep, wake up at noon, wait like 4 hours until I eat something more substantial. Even if I'm eating, again, it's maybe a banana or something small, and then when I want a meal, it's around like 3 or 4 usually. Two at the earliest. I rarely eat before like, noon or 1 p.m. unless I'm like traveling and on them again, unless I'm moving and doing stuff constantly. There's no reason like to need to do that. A lot of times my shifts at work are from like 4 to 8 anyway, or from 2 to 8 at the very earliest. So that's why my eating window is like that, because of gigging for so many years and being used to eating from like around 8 to midnight, maybe to 2 a.m. sometimes. But water is so good for you. Water is so like necessary, and it, again, it's so opposite from like giving your body what it needs versus what I say, giving your body what it needs. I went this way versus soda and other beer, anything else like that. Like that shit is the literal opposite of what your body wants. It's a lovely treat. Like I have these little, I love getting the little cans of soda and drinking them once in a while. I don't know if I'll have one today, because usually I like to I like save what my sugar intake is. I don't have soda and ice cream and drink alcohol and do all this stuff. I'm like, at this point, if I'm gonna eat sugar, I'm gonna have something really like that I've really been craving, which usually is literally like ice cream or maybe cookies and milk. Like I'm a simple person in that way. I like to just like, I can just kind of grab it and start enjoying it kind of thing. But not those like prepackaged like tasty cakes or any of those like, snack cakes kind of things, just because they're so, I don't know. I like if I'm going to eat calories that are not good for me, I'm going to eat the really good stuff. I'm getting like the Publix Bakery Heath Bar cookies or something that's like that I really, really enjoy, So yeah, drink water instead of soda and alcohol. Water is no calories. Soda is. Alcohol is. Always those are always going to have calories. This doesn't have any. And it's giving your body hydration, everything that your body needs. When it comes to fasting, I don't recommend going nuts with it, because that's what I did, and it led to me almost choking to death a lot of times. I had a problem with fasting until 10 p.m. sometimes when I was younger, and would wait like all day to eat so that I could justify eating a bunch of like fast food and eating a bunch of crap late at night, I think is why I was doing that. But the amount of times I would get together with friends and I'm like literally starving at that point because I haven't eaten for like fucking 8 hours. Sometimes that's maybe on top of barely eating any calories the day before. So I would be eating like chicken wings or something with friends and like literally would start like choking, or one of those, not choking, but one of those like, the amount of times I can't put a number. I literally can't put a number on how many times I have eaten so fast that it just gets stuck in my chest or gets stuck like right around here, and I'm sitting there drinking water and waiting. The amount of times I've felt food get stuck in my chest and it felt in so much pain, or felt like it went down the wrong pipe, or felt like I was literally like, the amount of stress I was putting on my heart when I was doing that, I literally would feel my heart beating out of my chest, and I would feel so like scared is all. The amount of times I would just be like, oh my God, when is this gonna pass? When is this gonna pass? I feel like I'm dying. Don't fast like that. Don't fast to the point of like you're eating that quickly like I did. The best thing that I did was tell myself to stop eating at midnight, and then it's literally almost 4 p.m. right now because I woke up late. Like I wake up late and I don't start my day till literally like 3 or 4 p.m. Like that is the kind of person I am, and it's just how I will always be. So I should literally grab a banana in a second here. So don't fast to that extreme, because that was very stressful. Now I'm very good at it's because my lifestyle is different. I'm not 4 o'clock hits and I have to rush to a gig and then play a gig from 5 to 8 p.m. and don't have time to eat on break. That was awful. Like gigging, I can't believe how used to that I got, and how awful that lifestyle actually was for someone like me is all. It wasn't great, because I'm not the kind of person that gets up early and has plenty to eat by the time 4 or 5 p.m. hits and I can go out. That's not me. So, I'd be going to gigs and I'd be like, well, I guess I'll wait to eat until afterwards, and I'd be like hungry as fuck. Or sometimes I would resort to having to buy a meal at the place I was playing at and spend money I didn't have to eat, to not be miserable during the gig. So, yeah, fasting, be smart about it. Eat when you gotta tell myself, if I'm hungry, eat. like you should eat, you know? Don't go nuts with it. Like if you're gonna fast, do it from like later in the day till middle of the day the next day. Like don't do what I did, which was like all day until nighttime, and then either there's only options like Taco Bell or other bad places that are not good for you, but you know, even if I was going out to eat with somebody, yeah, like then I would be like embarrassing the shit out of myself, eating and choking and almost choking and just or feeling like I was choking and coughing up, like literally having to like force myself to throw up. Like I always felt it get stuck here, and then I would have to do something where like some of it came up and some of it went down. Like it would have to break apart, and I would be like throwing up and also feeling it kind of going down, and just was so hungry and desperate to get it in my stomach. I didn't even slow down and process like being a normal fucking person and chewing. Like I was a grown-ass adult not knowing how to eat properly. It's how anxiety ridden my lifestyle was, and how much my anxiety and stress was fucking with my well-being in that way, you know, and it was very scary. So don't fast like that. What I do now is, yeah, like right when 4 hits, I get going, I get eating, and I eat plenty until midnight. And then once midnight hits, I'm like, all right. You know, like I've never eaten at 4 or 5 in the morning after being up all night and felt good about that. So, you know, maybe 1 a.m. Like I'll eat at the very late 1 or 2 a.m. if I'm, you know, and I don't give myself shit for it. Don't punish yourself for feeling like, oh, when I went out of my eating window, I fucked up. Like it's not about that. You got to go with your instincts a lot of the times too. Got to go with like just what feels right. You know, we say a lot of shit about AI, but AI kind of helped me have an idea of what AI helped me in having a healthier relationship with food just being food. Like when I was talking to it and almost using it as like a fucking therapist because I can't afford therapy, I was asking it about a lot of these things. And I said, like, I literally told it straight up, like, I just want to go back to how I felt when I was a kid with food. And I just kind of ate like whenever and didn't overthink it. Like I overthink stuff with food a lot of times because my brain and my heart, my body literally for a while, like I felt like I was a 6.5 foot tall, like 300-pound man, and I want to eat like that. Like I want to eat like competitive eaters and eat an insane amount in excess. And I'm 5'7", dude. I'm supposed to weigh like 155 pounds. Like a healthy weight for me is like 150, 155 or some shit. So I don't need to eat like a crazy amount is what I've realized. And yeah, so you know, AI actually helped me a little bit with when it just said, like, you know, a child doesn't look at things like that. Like the reason you were like kind of more casual about it is like, you know, kids just eat when they eat. You know, and people in general, you know, a lot of people, you know, ones that have healthy relationships with food, at least, you just got to do what feels right in the moment. Just eat when you want to eat, and don't eat if you're not. That's something that's so simple that a lot of people, you know, have a problem with. Is eat when you're hungry. Don't eat when you're not. Don't eat out of boredom. Don't eat when you just are like, yeah, there's nothing else going on. Let's go get something to eat. Like, don't be like Louis and the guy that plays his brother on screen in the show Louis C.K.'s show Louis, where they do a bang bang. Like that's like the fucking greatest clip. Like Louis in the show and his brother. You know, say whatever you want, but Louis C.K., the man's a genius. He's a genius comedian. Like I know he's like got his fucking weird shit, and he's not, you know, yeah, but I won't get into that. But what I mean is that clip of that episode is like how a lot of Americans probably are, like eating a bunch of food and then eating a bunch of food right afterwards, and that's just fucking crazy. You know, I know that it's good. I know that we love it. It tastes so good, and you just want it. And it's kind of an animal instinct. Like if you continue to feed a pet, like a cat or a dog, you can make them like it's an animal's instinct to eat a lot and move minimally, because it's the opposite for a lot of creatures in the animal kingdom. Most animals, like wild animals, are moving more than they're eating, or they're eating just enough to keep moving. But it is an instinct. It's an animalistic instinct to be like, I want to eat all of this and not move and not, you know, just in case. It's going with you along with your instinct of like, what if I run out of food at some point? I need storage. So it makes sense to like want to eat enough to have like this excessive weight, just in case you're in a situation where you're, say you are in a situation where you're on Naked and Afraid, or in a survival situation where you don't have food for a long period of time. Of course, the fat people are going to do a lot better than people that are underweight. But that we aren't in those situations anymore. We live in society where we can access food anytime, most of the day, very much anytime we want. As long as you buy food and have it at home, you can prep it and you can make it. You can do, you know, there are too many options to be lazy about it, if unless you really want to be. You know, it's like, that's your choice. Your choices are yours. I have no control over that. But all of this shit, I think about it so much because I feel so great lately, and I feel like I finally figured out what works for me, and I feel like I'm finally in a place I'm in control of this now at this point. And I worry about, what gives me anxiety about like the future or like gaining weight again is I eat my emotions away, kind of. Or if I'm depressed, like when I was my heaviest, I was my most depressed. I'm definitely the kind of person, and sometimes it's the opposite. What scares me is sometimes, like, when I'm depressed, I don't eat at all. There have been times where, like, I've lost people that I've cared about, people have died, and then, like, I literally eating, like, an apple, like, a day, shaking, like, because of how little I ate, out of being, like, too depressed to care about eating and shit. So what worries me is, like, when shit in life happens and that making me go off the deep end or fall off the wagon in that way with food and alcohol. That's what scares me, and I just never want that to happen. I want to be able to still, the one thing I really want to try to do with the rest of my life is live a healthy lifestyle no matter what is happening in my life. No matter what, I don't want to let things that are out of my control and things that are tragic, things that are awful that I know I'm going to have to deal with, as long as I don't die before everybody else, you know, as long as I'm not the first person to die of everyone I know, I'm going to have to deal with a lot of people I love and care about dying. And that's what freaks me out, is how am I going to react with drinking and alcohol and drinking and food and whatever, things that are my personal vices. Like, I've never done hard drugs. I literally, like, the only hallucinogenics I've taken is like the mildest, like 5 milligrams of truffles in Amsterdam. I've just smoked weed my whole life. I just drink alcohol and smoke weed, basically. I've never done hard drugs. So because I have very few vices, I go hard with them if I am going to do them. You know, like, now when I drink, like, I want to get tanked. Like, I want to, if I'm going to wait every few months to drink, like, I'm going to drink at that point, because my body's, like, kind of wanting that, you know, and I can drink, and I can have fun and indulging in that, knowing that, like, I never do this anymore, so let's enjoy it, right? Like, that's great. That's like the like, I have something to look forward to now next time I drink. It's like, oh, I can, and I'm not even going to get that fucked up, because my body almost not rejects it at this point, but my body is so not used to it anymore that it's like, whoa, what is this? What is this now? You know, what is this substance you're putting in us? And it, you know, it's hard for me to, unless I'm in a mood and where I really want to drink to the point of getting fucked up. I rarely do nowadays. Now when I drink, I maybe have like a couple of whiskeys, like a beer. That's it. Like, I don't even want to go nuts with it, because a little goes a long way the less you do something. Even weed, like, I'm wanting to kind of smoke less, so that when I smoke, it's still, like, you know, hitting me really nicely and hitting me strongly. So I know it works for me. You know, I know that I don't like to eat too much and then smoke right after. I wait to, I don't smoke and eat at the same time, or I try to not drink and eat at the same, drink alcohol and eat at the same time, unless, you know, very special occasion, someone's birthday or something. You know, rarely am I combining these things, because the amount of times I've overeaten and then I'm smoking weed and I'm feeling, like, freaked out from the weed, and, like, my body is full and having to digest all that stuff. Like, I hate, like, that, the amount of times I've overdone something and then I just have to deal with the anxiety of, like, oh God, like, this feels like too much for my body right now. I am really getting to a point lately where I just don't want to put so much stress on my body, or put so much in it and have it do so much. Your body is like a machine. Now, if you force the machine to overwork, it's gonna feel it. You're gonna feel your body internally working overtime in that way, or having to do so much more than it's used to, and I just don't want to do that to my body anymore. I also don't want a stomach ache anymore. The amount of times I've thrown up or had to shit like 3 or 4 times the next day because of how much I ate, and how much I'm somehow I'm so apologetic to my stomach nowadays. And just, I think when I was even tripping in Amsterdam, I remember, like, looking down and being like, oh God, like, I'm so sorry, stomach, I'm so sorry what I've done to you. Like, I put it through a lot. I've expanded it. I've shrunk it. I've like Christian Baled a little bit throughout my life, as far as being able to gain and drop weight so quickly. You know, like, that's something that's nothing to me. Like, if you wanted, you know, someone needed me to gain weight for, it's like the actor in me, like, wanting, oh, I have to gain weight for this role, I have to lose weight for this role. Like, I could totally do it. Could totally do any of that shit, because I kind of, it's kind of interesting, like, pushing your body in different ways and seeing what your body can do. Again, shouldn't go nuts with these things. Like, I gotta eat right now. I'm fucking hungry. You shouldn't go nuts with these things. This banana's a little brown, but that's how they're nice and flavorful like that. These things right here. I try to space them out because this is sugar on top of sugar, obviously, right? Then if I don't eat any sugar for the rest of the day, I don't have to like sweat it. It's so good. It is so good to just eat like simple foods. This video is probably really long at this point. So what did I say? What are all the main bullet points that I hit? Eliminate sugar and alcohol. Count calories. Look at the nutrition, all the nutritional facts on it. Once you look, I promise you, once you read this shit more often, you will rethink if it's worth eating, and you will rethink if you want to put all of that shit into your body. Even though this stuff, like, look, there's not that many ingredients in this. That's like a portion of a lot of the other things that are there. Like, when something has like 30 or 40 different things in it, that's all you need to know. If it has too many things going on in it, then that's probably not great for you, you know? It's not probably not great. It's not great for you. There's no maybe with that. Drink plenty of water. Eat in a certain window if you do want to fast. Fasting has helped me so much with dropping weight. Fasting has helped a lot of people. It can be really good for you. Don't go nuts with it, and just stay in your window. I'm eating right now, so I probably, it's 11:51 right now or whatever time it is, right? 11:49, 11:50. I won't eat past 11:50 tonight or past midnight. That 10-minute difference, that doesn't matter. As long as it's around an 8 to 9 hour at most, 9 hour fast, window, you're still getting 15 to 16 hours of not eating. It really is just like the reason fasting is great is because it gives your body a second to not process more than it's already had to process. That's it. If you really want to lose weight, you can. You just have to have the discipline and the willpower to not indulge and not have those habits that you've had for years. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that because your body's adapted to the point that it wants it so much. Like Elaine in that episode of Seinfeld where she, stops eating. She gets annoyed with people having birthdays all the time, that her body got used to that sugar rush at that point of the day, and then she starts eating Mr. Peterman's cake that was like, 100 years old or whatever the hell. So, your body does get used to it. Your body wants it if you're used to eating that. Like my body doesn't crave fast food anymore or sugar as much because I don't eat it as much. So, being mindful of these, practicing mindful eating is the most important part of all of this. But I genuinely think that you can do it. You just have to be strict with yourself. You have to have that self-discipline. And that's really hard. I know it's hard because I've been there. But the amount of money that you save and the amount of good it does for your body to not indulge in things so much is all. It doesn't have to be every weekend you go out. It doesn't have to be, I have to order DoorDash every day. Like it is just so not good for your wallet, not good for your money, not good for your body, not good. There are so many negatives. I can't stress that enough, and I can't justify that to myself. I just can't justify, eating these things that I know is not giving my body what it actually needs, and not giving my body what it really wants, which is the good stuff. If I'm gonna eat, I want to eat the good stuff. I think Bourdain said that at some point. Like, if you're gonna get fat on good food. Be like a snob with food. That will change everything that you eat. If you start being like a bit of a snob, like, no, this isn't good enough. Like, McDonald's isn't good enough for me. or Taco Bell. Taco Bell, I fuck with Taco Bell hard. I love Taco Bell. But any of these fast food places, yeah, like if you get into that, almost like a Gordon Ramsay or, the master chef judge is like, this isn't good enough for me, or like what's his face from Ratatouille. The more of a once you get into that kind of being a little bit of a snob, you're not gonna want to engage with those things that are so bad for your body, because you're just gonna, you kind of have to look, you have to look at you have to have that mentality of like, that's beneath me, like I don't want to eat that because it's not, like that's the best thing you can do in a lot of ways too, is be a bit of it. And that's where I'm at lately. I'm just a snob. I'm like, unless something's giving me really what I want, or it's so good that it is worth spending the money on, going to a nice restaurant, and of course, like eating, you go to an Italian restaurant that's like nice and you want like really well made tiramisu, eat the stuff that's good. But all the fast food stuff, it's especially right now, like maybe hopefully that changes, once they start closing more of their stores and try to focus on each individual store more. That could be a good thing for fast food to take like a huge hit, and like what I mean is the quality of it will be better probably if there are less restaurants that they have to worry about. But fast food places, they're not worth your money, and they're not worth, like, it's not good. It's just not good enough. The food isn't good enough is all I can say about that. It hits the spot when you're drunk or stoned or something, and you're just really craving it. I still have these cravings like anybody else. I'm not saying that like I'm not eating this shit anymore. I just had a McDonald's fried apple pie last night and Arby's on Wednesday. So 3 days ago I had Arby's. I still love that shit, but I have it very rarely, and I don't eat too much. Even when I'm eating that stuff, that I don't eat too many. I try not to eat too many calories, or if I am, like, I don't eat that much the rest of the day, so that's my calories for the day, right? But it's I genuinely think, going back to you, I genuinely think that you can lose weight if you really want to. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. No one gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about your weight except for you, because you're the only one that it affects. Like, I don't give a shit about how other people live. I care about how I live. But, I mean, of course I give a shit about the people I care about, but, fat people complaining about being fat and then not wanting to do anything about it, that's just, it doesn't make any sense. I almost like a part of me almost applauds these like fat influencers, these people that are fat that are shamelessly posting themselves eating really bad on TikTok, like, oh, what I eat in a day as a fat girl, what I eat in a day as somebody who doesn't give a shit about their diet. I get it, and part of me wonders if they're only posting that and they don't care what people judge them. I think they're doing that to make money, to be able to keep paying for the amount of food that they're eating. That's my theory with that they don't care, that they've just like, they care so much about being able to eat that much food and the bad food that they want, their viewers to start helping them pay for it, kind of thing. That's what I think that is. But I kind of like, and these people don't live long. But I can appreciate someone just like, I'm gonna eat and drink whatever the fuck I want, and if I die, then I die. Like, I don't care. That's fine. Like, I genuinely don't know if we should like try to like fix others so much unless they can fix themselves. Like, I don't know if drug addicts and alcoholics, like, I think AA and NA are like very important, but I think that there's something to be said about like, people are so like accommodating to these types of people instead of giving them tough love. I think fat people need like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like, I don't want to say making fun of fat people, but like, I know we call fat shaming a bad thing, but it used to be like really like socially unacceptable to be that way. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. We can say whatever we want about boomers, that people, the way people lived in the 20th century, but they were not fat until like diners and fast food places and things became a lot more common in like the 1970s and 80s. People didn't have that much of a weight problem. Granted, again, people were going through the Great Depression and shit where they literally were starving to death and couldn't afford food. So that's like where, again, this 180 switch in 100 years, where 100 years people were literally starving to death from how much because they couldn't afford food, to now people are taking GLP-1s to lose weight because they can't stop eating. There's not a single person that is fat that is that is not overindulging. Like, anytime they say they don't eat that much, anytime they say, like, they're lying. You can't gain weight without eating a surplus of calories. It's just impossible. There are certain people, like the guy Israel, the Hawaiian guy that does that cover of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. He passed away like years and years ago. He had a disability. Like, he was born with his body was just fucked from the get-go, where his body like wouldn't process nutrients the right way. So he was a big guy because some people are sick. Some people are like, they have a disease. That's completely different, obviously. And the mental health aspect of all this as well. I will not like make fun of anybody that's like, they're eating because they were sexually abused when they were a kid, or, you know, that's the case for a lot of people too, is they have a lot of emotional issues and a lot of mental health issues. I feel so sorry for those people. But I don't feel sorry for people that are just lazy and don't feel like moving and don't feel like changing their habits. Because it's completely in your control. Everything when it comes to what you put into your body, what you think, a lot of what you think, and you have control over a majority of your emotions. Most of the time, you are in control. You are able to do whatever like you want to do that with these things that are in your control. Now, again, it's almost this act of rebellion that I have, my rebellious nature of like, feels like the world has taken away so many things that are not in my control. Like, so many things, like I don't have control over the economy or the cost of living, the cost of food. I don't have control over so much in my country that I'm going to take advantage of the things I am in control over, which is my body and my mental well-being and my habits and all that shit. So, you know, where I am right there with everyone with the nihilist point of view, like, who cares? Like, we're all going to die. Like, who gives a fuck about my health? I want to live well and I want to feel good. If you want to feel good, eating right and getting even just minimal exercise. Like, if you have a good diet, you don't even need to exercise a crazy amount. I don't exercise as much as I should, but I'm like so strict with my diet lately. And yeah, you're in control. Let's end this video finally. You're in control. You are totally able to do whatever you want when it comes to your dietary habits, whatever your body needs. You can do it. I believe in you. I 100% believe that you can, as long as you do it right now. You have to do it right fucking now. Right now, change your habits. Because the more you put it off, the harder it is to do it and to get into it. But if you take action right away, that's already a step in the right direction. And I you know, want to the only reason I really want to make this video is to share all the things that helped me tremendously in the last year, because I do feel in control over these things now. And I do feel in control over wait to smoke. I do feel like I'm in control over all these things. And I was having health anxiety for the last year. So the one way to take care of my health anxiety and to not feel anxious about my health was to get healthy. You know, I know I do this and then that a lot, but that's just kind of I'm emotive or whatever. Yeah, take care of yourself, people. If you want to live well, if you don't care and you're okay with being in pain and being a diabetic and having to take insulin for the rest of your life, if you don't care and you want to eat whatever you want and as much as you want and you're okay with dealing with being a diabetic and having heart disease and all that shit, then that's fine too. Like, it's not a big deal if you want to just live hard and then die, you know, prematurely. Like, I'm gonna be sad. That's gonna be sad if if the people I care about, you know, die sooner than I'd like them to. But at the same time, I'm not going to. Despite everything I've said in this video, I understand completely of, like, if you want to live hard, then live hard. I kind of get why, like, rock stars at one point were just like hard drugs, drinking, fucking. Like, I get it. That's like a dangerous area for me. That's a dangerous area for me to go into everything hard, because I am one of those people that'll like die of an overdose or die from drinking too much or die from eating. I have to do that so that I don't die, because I will go into it very fucking hard and get like, I don't do cocaine or hard drugs because I'll probably do too much of it and have a fucking heart attack or get bad luck and have a fentanyl fucking overdose or whatever. Like, I have to keep a distance so that I am like staying safe and staying cautious and being healthy. You know, being healthy is not just, you don't want to be healthy. I think it's important to be healthy, not just for the sake of it, but so that you can do the things that you want to do. I don't ever want to be limited. A big part of this is I don't want my testosterone to be fucked up when I'm older. I want to be able to have sex without needing to take a pill. I want to feel like I'm greedy with my testosterone as I'm getting older, because I know I just need all of science says, like, it just men's testosterone slowly reduces as we get older. And that freaks me out. So now I'm like thinking, fuck you, world, it's my testosterone, it's mine, I want it, I'm gonna keep it for as long as, and that's like, I'm significantly more like obsessed with sex than I am with food. So that's where I'm at lately, is I'm gonna want to be, right now I'm wanting to be as sexually desirable as possible for the sake of my music career, and just to look good, because I feel good, and I see the way people look at me differently now, and I feel the way women look at me differently now, and that feels great. It feels fun. I'm addicted to that. I'm addicted to the way people make me feel now that I feel I'm not even, again, I need more muscle, like I'm not even in the best shape, but let me, I guess I should edit this video. Just for frame of reference, this is how I looked. Let me show you a quick picture. That's how I looked 2 or 3 years ago. That's from an old video. So I'll throw that screenshot in there, and you can see how big I was before. But this is how I look now, and I feel fantastic. I think you can feel fantastic too if you want to, and if you want to change your habits, because it all goes back to habits. Your eating habits are so fucking impactful to how you live, as well as how you experience life and all that shit. So yeah, I love and care about every single one of you, and I want you to feel good about life, and I want you to feel healthy, and I want your self-esteem. I want you to feel good about your self-esteem. You lose weight, you feel better, you look better. Your self-esteem is like you're gonna feel so good as a from a confidence standpoint. So you can do it. I think you can do it. I hope that this helped anybody at all. I hope that my experiences and my story of like what my lifestyle changes have been for the last few years, I hope that for the last year more so. I didn't really start doing this for the last year, but yeah, I really hope that this it helps somebody out and helps somebody else out in any way, and I hope that that this was informative or just helpful in any way. Love y'all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.